and putting the welcome back for the Welsh Esports League with League of Legends. I am once again returning, Britannia, and this time I'm joined by Peanuts for Brains, as self-described Minicon. Welcome back. Glad to have you back after our last cast for the last Esports Leagues.
Mm.
How are you feeling coming back?
No, amazing. Thank you so much. And brilliant introduction. Really appreciate it. Not a single better way to introduce me, but no, really glad to be back. Thank you so much. And really looking forward to it. I was really glad to see your name on the call sheet. I
Oh, flattered.
feel like I'm in comfortable hands. You've been, very much on top of it, which is exciting, but we'll be diving in a little bit later on as well, of course, into some hopefully exciting drafts. Jumping on
Yeah.
patch 13.13, which is brilliant. Some positive changes, I'd say.
Yes.
But it always feels like that, doesn't it? It always feels like there's a positive change in the patch notes, and then something always creeps its way in. But we'll see.
Yeah, there's always a subtle hand, with one hand giveth, the other take away. This patch taken away, partly Static Shift, Nico, Ivan, Annie, Aphelios. So there's like a long list of long-time staples that have been somewhat withdrawn back from the forefront, which is refreshing to see. And we got to see some of those fresh faces with the giveth hand coming along
Absolutely.
last week. And to speak of last week, and of today's game, to give us a look at the schedule, we have once again the artists live on stream for the viewers' eyes again, which is exciting because last week, if anyone here missed it, I know someone might have. So this is partly for you that they had won the last league, but their showing was not fantastic. As I discussed with the Phoenix at the end, that it's really, really important for them having lost that game. They only get six in this. Sorry, five, because there's only six teams. They get five, and they've lost it to the new favourites in the Swan. So for the artists, if they want to keep on top of their glory, they're going to have to beat the next runner-up favourites or the other hot dark horse, top three we're looking at here in the Pirates as well. So for the artists, having lost their last game last week, this game is extra important for them.
Absolutely, and it's exciting as well. Of course, really, as you said, there really set the stage lovely for our first match. Of course, the Pirates v the Artists. I'm very excited to see that. Of course, there are some brilliant little pocket
Mm-hmm.
picks potential. As we look over to that mid lane in particular,
Yeah.
what really stood out to me is that amazing Akali. I kind of hope we get to see an Akali performance. Might seem unlikely,
Mm.
but there's always a chance that that does slip through the net if they're potentially feeling like an ego play. You know what I mean? Feeling like this
Yep.
mid laner on the opposing side might want to challenge that. Might want to, have that skill battle in the mid lane. Because of course we can imagine a potential tank lineup in the top side being quite commonplace, as we know, with an
Yeah.
Ornn as ever, just being a very staple, solid person, but potentially Cassante as well in the top lane as well,
Mm-hmm.
giving a little bit more excitement. Still very much being a tank matchup and can very much just fall in to the El Clasico Sunfire K play quite slowly, but then of course going all out and giving us a little bit of excitement in the top lane. But I'm definitely going to be looking towards that mid lane for an exciting expression of skill, hopefully to come in our first game of the day, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah, right. And last time we didn't get to see the Akali, sadly, but like you say, it has to slip the net really for that to happen. And you think if it does get through, there's not really a lot of
Absolutely.
reason why you shouldn't. 63% win rate, 180 games. In Master, by the way, this isn't just some fluke. It's got to be something that Wishful Hopes is doing right. Was unable to get too much of a showing, sadly, on that Victor, but again, as we talked about before going live, maybe it was something to do with the whole draft in general, looking across at that Mordekaiser. Could be something to do with the team. So again, right, it's going to be a whole team-wide hustle, and they have more than just the Akali behind their wheel. We've seen the Kaiser that did perform well as well. Lots of mastery there as well. So the whole team is equipped with tools here for the artists. But because we've seen the artists before, I'm more curious now about power routes and what they can steal away maybe from the artists. What precious things they have in their toolkit, in their treasure box to whip out for this opponent.
Very nice. Absolutely. Amazing. Well, I think we'll be heading into that draft very, very
Soon,
soon. A
yeah.
lot to look at and a lot to expect. I'm very, very excited for it. But of course, we'll be heading into draft now.
And Speaking of one of those things that is the back, well, not really the back pocket, but the front pocket's taken away, is that Rengar. And then perhaps we can talk about more of the more staple things in the meta. You mentioned the Cassante is the one that stood out to me, one of those things on 13-13 that did maybe not get as hit as much as I would have liked to have seen it already here last week as well. Did perform perfectly well. Milio is on the top of that list for Bannerbot champions. Zaya, one of those front pocket champs, as well as that Fiora was the next one on the tip of my tongue. So really a good healthy mix here in the ban so far of bans directed at persons and bans directed at meta.
Absolutely, and I look at that straight away. The Kai'Sa locked in, which is kind of the next in line ADC there. Real concentration there on the artist. Blocking out that Emilio, blocking out that Zaya. They've gone for their bot lane straight away. They've opened up nice and strong there with a very strong bot lane pair. And of course, the Rel could be flexible, but it seems they're a nice little open bot lane pick there on the side of the artist, which is brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm personally excited to see Rel because I was apprehensive about the idea of this champion changing because I really enjoyed Rel when she came out, and to me the fact that she was changing was a bit of anxiety I had that it's going to make the champion unfun to play or play against, and I'm pleasantly surprised due to my apprehension about the results, and like you say, potentially flexible. Although the last time I see the draft here, the Sejuani is being hovered. Although I did mention before, Sejuani could be flexible as well. I don't know if Sejuani top is as alive as it once was, but still, right? Seeing the Rel for me is particularly exciting coming into this draft because new flavors, different change in the crash down speeds and everything else, room for errors, and also room for outplays, right? People not expecting or being too familiar with what the new Rel can produce.
Absolutely, and Rel is a CC menace, and I feel paired up with that Sejuani, it's going to be quite hard to miss that Glacial Prison and lock up with the insane amount of CC that Rel provides. Sejuani can get in there, Kai'Sa can get into the team fight. There's a lot of ways to lock up the enemies with that amazing CC coming out on the side of the artist. But we've got a clear view of the lineup there for the side of the Pirates, and it's looking like a Varus Nautilus bot lane. Varus did get slightly hit with a nerf to the Blighted Quiver. Nothing too dramatic. Slight, fluctuation in the magic damage that he dishes out there. But most importantly, I feel like there we've got an Akali coming out. They've vied into an Akali on the side of the Pirates, which is exciting. We've got ourselves a Syndra Akali mid lane.
Yep.
Potential outplay, potential excitement to be had there, but I'm quite keen to see all these lanes play out. A lot of potential expression and nothing too boring. No tank matchup top lanes per se. So quite exciting, hopefully energetic game from the get-go.
Yeah. So for me, I'm quite excited, right? Because I was holding my breath because the Akali didn't get banned to see where it landed, right? And it's a lot of guile, I feel like, a lot of guts to lock the Akali as not necessarily an Akali player. It's definitely on the match history here for Min Russia. But it is not the mastery that is on the side of Wishful Hopes. So it is, I think, the most exciting lane, right? And of course, as someone that plays a lot of Akali, you can trust them to pick the right champion into it. The Syndra being the option, of course, with the scatter can interrupt the ultimate if you got the fingers for it, and maybe the head to right, psych them out for the timing on it. So there is plenty of action to be had in this mid lane. Hopefully we get to see that amount of action. It's not just me setting up Skittles when we're not playing Skittles, but we're curling or something, right?
No, absolutely. You said it really well, though. There's a lot of mobility to be had on Akali, especially towards the later levels. Can be possibly quite hard to land those balls on Syndra. But, Minion Russia, I think, vies a lot into, judging off that match history, quite a lot of mages into that mid lane. I'd imagine has a lot of experience of playing with and against these control mages in the mid lane, so hopefully 100%. Has a good understanding going into this lane, but very much, is a requirement to make sure that you hopefully get ahead and don't try and get dominated by that Syndra. Ranged autos push you off that wave. I think you want to be definitely having that push and possible roaming as well, potentially. Some great CC to be had there with a Jarvan, especially come level 6. Is there a potential 3-man roam potentially towards that bot lane, which again, even more CC to be had there with that Nautilus. Some really exciting plays can be lined up here, but I feel like a mid priority there is absolutely paramount for both these teams. not just the Pirates.
Right, as well, looking back here at the jungle then, right, in terms of mid-priority, the next most important thing to consider is that jungle. Jarvan has definitely got a lot of wriggle room in terms of his pathing with level 2 ganks and everything else going on. Has a lot of early damage now that his passive's back up to that 12% max health. He's definitely a lot more potent, perhaps, than the Sejuani is early. Has a lot more tools to get into those lanes as well, so could punish the Syndra a lot more than maybe a Sejuani could punish an Akali, depending on how that goes, of course. As well, right, this top lane Gwen Urgot is probably not going to favor the Urgot very well, and if Sedge starts that bot side, there is room. Should Gwen play it tricksily, let the wave come into her. So I feel like early game, these junglers, I expect Jarvan to be very proactive, given the composition that he has. Urgot could be on the weaker side into this matchup. Akali could be poked out of this lane. There's a lot of pressure here on Jarvan to make sure that his lanes aren't just getting slammed. He's keeping them alive and making sure they can get to those first item spikes where Urgot and Akali really begin to come alive. And Sejuani might have to become more active than you'd expect her to be. Normally only really farming until 6, then kind of becoming a bit of a bulwark for the team and can start bullying when you get around to these skirmishes. And she's going to do super well with that, by the way, as well, because Rel, without that capped attack speed, can now actually proc the Sejuani passive for the frozen parts as well. The Gwen scissors, excellent for that as well, getting those extra snips in. So I feel like Sejuani here is quite set up for success. It's really up to Jarvan here to upset and disrupt these lanes as much as possible.
Absolutely. And I feel like it has to be mentioned, of course, with the Jarvan. I feel like a really strong pick, especially, as you say, into that Sejuani, when you can have the opportunity to dominate in the early levels and really start to pressurize that Sejuani in the jungle. But it has to be said, of course, Gwen has fantastic ways to get out of a Cataclysm. Kai'Sa, less so, has the potential to get out of it, of course, with her ultima. But of course, as well, we have Rel, who's quite mobile as well. So Sejuani can get out of a Cataclysm as well. There are ways for them to maneuver out of the Cataclysm, which is that perfect way. Does an incredible amount of damage should they vie into a damage-heavy build there. So, but there are ways for these players to get out and maneuver into more favorable positions. But I feel like there, of course, the Nautilus comes in handy, being able to lock them down and ensure that they're not getting to wiggle their way around. But there is a very wiggle-heavy team. But Syndra, if you get any CC onto her, Cataclysm, there's no way for her to get out should she flash. So there could be a lot of priority there as well, with a flashless Syndra being a very juicy target indeed for this enemy team.
I love how here you bring up the Nautilus in that point as well, right? Because we haven't yet really touched on this bot lane so much. It's probably the most important lane because I have not yet mentioned that Gizmo and Legacy are players that have known each other for a very long time. I sort of know both of them on the mutual. Gizmo, of course, I've cast with as well, so I have a good idea and understanding for his preferences and the way he likes to play his lanes. Normally quite high priority in his lanes, normally trying to find angles and make sure that if someone's doing something wrong, he's looking to punish it. Nautilus is an excellent champion to do that on, especially into Rel, where she's got very now slow and telegraphed forms of CC. The hook there, the dredge line from the Nautilus can do an excellent job of interrupting that and counter-engaging. And of course, Ghost Varus able then to navigate his way through the team fights, get around from these glacial storms, get away from these Scatter the Weaks. If it lands, however, without the cleanse, he's going to get popped, right? The team hasn't got the best peel for him. He hasn't got the shields maybe that Emilio could provide. But as long as he's going forward, Legacy God is going to be happy. And the last time I got to cast Legacy, he had a fantastic game on the Cogmore. Did yield a great win on that stream, that last Esports League. So hopefully coming into this game we get to see more of that action from Legacy God, and hopefully maybe some more contested, because Ringo Starr again on his signature Kai'Sa is definitely equipped to do so.
Absolutely, and I really want to concentrate as well briefly, as you say, on that bot lane there. Summoner spells. Varus, of course, a champ with very low mobility. He's edged in there for a ghost, leaving him healless, with the Nautilus going in there for the ignite. But he does have a refill pot, so possibly mindful of taking it possibly quite slow and just, you know, ensuring that he's got the health to maintain himself within that bot lane. But of course the cleanse then on the same breath with going into that Nautilus. He's a menace. He can lock you down for what seems like an eternity. So having that cleanse, I'm sure, is an incredible summoner spell to find there. But the level 2 for the side of the artist. Oh, and just the hook misses there from Gizmo. Very positive start here for the Kai'Sa Rel bot lane, but not unexpected. I feel like, you know, vegging in to that refill pot, I feel like they're quite happy to stay there, take it slow, and just see if they can steady this lane. so things can move forward later into the game. But these jungle paths, there was a ward placed on the side of that blue buff there for the Jarvan, so they're aware of his path in. It seems like very stereotypical, nothing out of the ordinary path here. Taking both buffs, taking all these camps at the moment as it stands.
Yeah. Yeah, just the kind of staple race here in the junglers. I was maybe expecting, well, I guess maybe I was more excited or hoping here for Jarvan to have more in his pocket as a padding, but here just going for the staple, making sure that he's not going to fall too far behind this one, just a couple more attacks behind, clearing that camp. But both of them here seem to be pathing towards the bot side, right? They understand where their chits are going to be at. I think for me, I highlighted Jarvan maybe wants to defend against his top. But if you see a hook here, straight here, the comment, Ignite coming down, Crash down away, but it is Varus here getting the pre-auto attack. Space Hunter popped as well. He's going to walk here closer into Sejuani, but they want to result as land
flash
forward with the flare on. That's first blood there for the Kaiser, who you wanted to be on.
Jarvan spin it around. Dragon flag.
In the middle of it, but instead the flag drag flash takes out Kaiser of the equation. It is another flail here, picking up a kill there for Worship as well. And now the two of them are going to have to escape. Jarvan here with red buff can do a lot of work and a lot of damage, has the health advantage as well. That is just going to walk away the worst for the team, 1-2.
And unfortunately, with that Kaiser there falling into a death, it does pick up a kill, but the wave might not quite reach the tower. The Kaiser might be able to get back. But of course, the Jarvan is picking up quite a lot of GC fill XP, a lot of CS there in the bot lane, which is ideal. Of course, the Sejuani did pick up a kill there and an assist, which is only beneficial there, of course, on the side of the Sejuani. But don't underestimate the CS and the XP there picked up from the Jarvan there in the bot lane, getting that CS. But exciting and electric start there from the bot lane. We had, you know, as you rightfully predicted, the chips do seem to be, especially in this early game, towards the bot lane. And it's looking quite dire on the sides of summoner spells. Of course, no summoner spells for the sides of the pirates there, which can potentially leave them vulnerable. But we do have the Hex Flash there and the Cleanse on the side of the artist. So maybe a Rube and orientation towards the mid lane. A blind there into the river from the Syndra.
Flag drag does land. Dredge line around the corner as well. Forces the flash here. Scatter going to push back to Flashboard here.
Flash from Carly.
Lands the flip and the 5-point strike earns the kill. Alba here on the top side. Stunned up Johan.
Just falling short there
as well. So actually across the board.
Absolutely, they're not letting this fall short. This is an exciting start. A nice push there for the Gwen, but of course the TPs are very much being used. Here's the TP coming out top lane for the Urgot, and the TP towards the mid lane there for that Akali, not to fall too far astray here with the state of their lanes. But this Sejuani is eating up the advantage you just picked there on the top side, getting this Grump here, which is exciting. But looks at Jarvan in the base, picking up some items, very much a free Grump there, which is brilliant. And I have to comment, the ward control, I mean, earlier in the game, the side of the artists had their tri-bush warded there. And of course, we can see a nice coverage there on the top side from the side of the artists as well. The coverage is seeming quite good. It's seeming great here on the side of the artists, and they're using that to their advantage, of course, to push into that top side jungle with the Sejuani getting that Grump. So, looking promising. And I feel like the importance of that there, picking up that Grump as well, you know, it is important because that Jarvan did get quite a lot of CS bot lane. So potentially neutralizing that gold difference potential. But, you know, minimizing things there, which is brilliant to see. This bot lane leveled itself back up, looking towards the middle, but Jarvan does make his way towards the bot lane. I believe he's out of vision there. Could we see something in this bot lane?
Yeah, that's a very good vision, good shot. Come on, something here, as you say, Jarvan is flash. Okay, into the lane, no yield, but a good attempt and a fantastic set of the lane gank, just not the CC to set him up as much as you'd like. I love how you bring up the gold as well, being sort of equalized here in the jungle. It's a little bit pick and mix, as you mentioned, because creeps versus camps here, Sejuani leading more on the camps, Jarvan pushing the wave more on the creeps. I don't know if production can get excellent client for us and get us a little taste of what the gold is, but they'll have to wait. In fact, it's gone on again. The rest of the team is here to follow up.
Johnny's here. Does
he's already dead. Rel's gone down. It's a 2 versus 3 for the remainder, and the max health here from Jarvan going to apply it across the field. The rest of the team have to make love to get these health bars low at this point in the game. So a free pick up there for the Pirates.
Just too slow then, fortunately, from that Sejuani. Thinking maybe should I take this from on the usual head towards the bot lane, but of course the Jarvan doing very well there to notice the bot lane priority, and he does manage to, of course, pick up another assist, 3 assists here on the side of that Jarvan, and again a kill being very similar in terms of the KD to the bot lane, but of course that Nautilus also picking up a kill there as well, so he's killing the back pocket and pick it up into the Merc Treads, noticing the potential of the CC there from, of course, the Rel. Says Rani ganks as well, and the scat of the week, maybe later game, can cause a few problems for the Nautilus getting towards that back line, in particular to that beautiful juicy Kai'Sa. But nothing too drastic just yet, about a 1k gold lead at the moment for the Pirates, just as we might expect. But says Rani not being too upset with the position right now, going towards the top lane. Just missed the flail though.
This is Flail, gets the phase rush 2 levels down, and Gwen unable in a position to help. Just means the pig can charge his way over here to the Rishon. Instead, where they have not really a lot of vision, it seems to be mixedly invested, but speaking of invested, we have more ganks in action in the bot side. Chase up from Gilliland here onto Rel, taking the worst of the Varus damage there, looking to abrupt as well, but it's Jarvan.
They don't know Jarvan's there.
The wall, looking for something. Has got 6 Cataclysm there, it is done. And the pickup again on Grail being targeted in this bot side.
And that was just lovely there. Of course, you can see the red ward there in the bush for the bot lane here on the side of the Pirates, which is just perfect because they were totally unaware the Jarvan is their vision, but it might not be enough. If TP comes out, is it enough?
But it is the Kai'Sa dead. Fixing here now on the worst side of this 1v3. Lexi here patiently waiting. Yeah, actually might just get dropped here. Flag drag is not fast enough to get him out. Sticks here, continuing to chase over the wall, sends out the 1,000 cards. It's Gizmo having to sacrifice himself to the Gwen. That's a lot of damage. She's looking to chase it forward, has a red buff to go with as well. To get something that Halligan's going to buy Gwen some space. Keep her safe from any shenanigans under the tower. So losing out on CS on the top side, able to get a shutdown there onto the Jarvan. So not the worst trade ever, but look at that CS difference in the top lane. Probably only going to get worse.
That's it. I mean, it was great vision for that Gwen to notice the potential opportunity there in the bottom lane, but it does mean this he got is having a great old time top lane in terms of the CS. Of course, we are seeing that there. He just makes him a menace with these waves. They're not standing a chance against him. I can imagine he's got a few tower plates as well on the top side. It is worrying for this Urgot. Of course, not making such a presence across the map, but very much in his island there in the top lane. I'm sure we'll get to the position where he is able to make a presence across the map, but the Kai'Sa potentially caught out there. The Rel does come
out. Has got friends in the vicinity, at least keeping safe because it was almost Jarvan. Conversely, caught there. I'll go for a little bit more. It's Akali almost caught out. Going to use the clip to dodge the scatter. He's able to escape, but it seems the teams here are beginning to assemble for the Drake. No TPs available for this one, so what you see is what you get with a bit of WYSIWYG, and neither of these teams like what they see, so they're going to dissemble from the party, I guess I'd call it, the skirmish brewing here in the Drake pit.
Absolutely. And the shuriken toss there for the Akali being so beneficial in this, as you say earlier as well, about the Rel there, her mobility, her progression into a team fight is much more telegraphed now, and it makes it so easy for that Akali to do shuriken out, but might have to into the fight.
Sets it up with the Magnus Stone, the rest of the team looking to follow it forward. It's Worship and the rest of his team really start having time backwards. He's got the damage, but he's going to get flashed on double kills already for the Akali, looking to clear up the rest of that has been shut down. Flag drag, picking up the last of the members. It's Worshipped, the one being preyed upon, having to escape here as the rest of the team, the rest of the Pirates look to take their booty and just
absolutely, and it was just so unfortunate there. You know, it looked close, it looked tight, but the Pirates do come out on top and are looking towards just around a 2 to 3k goal lead there. Quite exciting there. Of course, picking up the first dragon of the game there, not close to about 12 minutes versus Rani. Might have something to say about it. Might fight first.
Has got the smite to secure it, and it's Ringo looking to pick this one up. Going to be stuck in the pit, but it's Gizmo now the time instead looking to get the rest of the damage down. A great dredge line pulls him away from the danger, so smite secured, and it's the Pirates being stolen from.
Which is awfully exciting because, of course, as it stands right now, despite the slight goal difference, the artists are completely in control of the objective. The Rift Held and the Dragon there in the back pocket, which Of course, the dragon and its beneficial stats, no, most exciting with the Cloud Dragon at the moment, but it must be considered the potential of these stacking objectives. The Rift Herald still in the back pocket of Worshipped. Where might that be used? I feel like there is a good opportunity here for him to put it into the bot lane, and he is looking towards the bot lane as we say that.
He hasn't got a lot of options because you see the little way around. He's going to expire shortly. I was going to bring it up when he took it, what the exchange was, because you mentioned there as well, the gold definitely in favour here of the Pirates, as the name might suggest. It's just going to expire. It seems they forgot about it or didn't press it in time, so I was going to set up and highlight how this hero could be used to bridge some of that gap back, right, because the kills. Instead, we're just going to have to take a look at the CS difference across the solo lanes and instead just highlight how that is where most of this difference might be about to grow. Fixino wasn't able to hit beyond death and just Eaton Johan there just cleaning up the Gwen. What I said might be a troublesome matchup for Yogo. Just because Gwen's a powerhouse doesn't mean you can't stand it. Titanic already completed in the back pocket there. CS advantage. Turret soon to go as well as the last place. And this Urgot is looking very happy, just purging through this top down.
I feel like that was expected. Unfortunately, I feel like that TP, albeit a great kill, the amount of CS that Urgot managed to pick up was just so monumental. And the CS, of course, as well there was just enough to make him a menace in the top lane. But they're not sitting on the laurels here. They go straight in.
Straight in and straight out with the perfect execution is exactly what I'd call that. The Cataclysm Unstoppable. They're dodging out from the Scatter the Weak, but it seems that the artists are looking to find a canvas to paint him.
And you know, that's perfect there from the summoner tracking there on the side of the Pirates. They were aware of the flashless Syndra. And as I said there earlier, she is the perfect opportunity for attackers, and it means it's more or less pretty easy for the Akali to land her Shuriken toss there and deal incredible damage with both procs there of the perfect execution. But I'll put Shia into the mid lane, getting rid of that cannon mini nerf difference, unfortunately. But if we look back towards that top lane, and this Urgot, I feel like will become an increasing menace with very little support at the moment, it seems, for the Gwen. I feel like this Urgot will continue to snowball his lead. And look at that CS lead there. I mean, equal on kills for the CS cannot be underestimated. It's looking potentially quite dire. Still, the one item built on the Urgot and still no items there. Unfortunately for the Gwen, got the Leeching Lee and the Blasting Rod, but compared to that beautiful Titanic Hydra, it's not going to do an awful lot.
Yeah, and it's beginning to become a bit concerned, right? Because if we take a step back whilst the action's flat, nobody's really going to be racing for this Herald, judging by where people are positioned on the map, right? It's a good opportunity to see 5k gold. It's not great for the time, and it's mostly, as you say, in this CS. And the point I want to raise here is if you take a quick pan down the side here of the artist, you will see that most of the damage is with the AP brush. Yes, Kaiser's going to do mixed, but it is very heavily AP damage. You look at the enemy team here, and they are able to spec into their mark. Let's see if it's going to pay off the most of the and flash. Escape, going to get it down, looking to get in the kill. This hasn't got a straight line to fear beyond death, but he might be fearing his own death here as the shutdown comes in for Asphyxia. He was worth that goal just then from taking over that advantage, but it's going to be flipped here in the bot side. Looking to get this out of
flash from Gizmo.
Hits the wall. Thumbs up Ramus for that one. Not the best ever. I like the attempt. Not going to yield too much. So, tower traded for shutdown is probably a fairly even trade, but that tower's going to fall inevitably. That kill will have to. So, a good reply here from the Pirates. Hopefully a win. Or I'll hold it as it's about to change. Both stuck inside the Cataclysm, and ultimately there from Kaiser just to get away, and that's the kill replied in the bot side. I mean, it's all the way around, taking a long way, which is pretty good because it means they're going to spend more time under that tower. So, what I was about to set up as a win for the Pirates is in fact a fair exchange plus the tower.
Absolutely, and I feel like potentially quite a disrespectful play there from the artist. They had vision there of the Jarvan taking that ground fine. The Tri-Bush there, they were aware of his positioning. Thought maybe he wouldn't go in, or potentially thought the Cataclysm would go down, but it very much was available and up to use, and used there perfectly to rocket both partners there for that exchange. Only getting one, but does been a great reply there from the brilliant. But of course, this Aegon, he's disgusting. And it's great to see that the team noticed that, and they did manage to bring 2 players top lane to lock him down. But the win for the Flash and the Scatter the Weak there timed perfectly from the Syndra. It could have gone in the complete opposite direction and meant that Aegon could have picked up a kill in a potential 3v1, which is worrying.
Yeah, he's level 13 here. He's quite happy just letting the wave do the work because they know the 2 level 11s aren't happy to contest him. Oh, a great hook there. The button there from Con, not excellent. He's going to get himself in a little bit of trouble, but it's a fair damage exchange in the end. That's going to come to so much more, judging by the angle that went after that. I think it just took all of the players by surprise. He was really quite so ready to follow. Speaking of following,
he's driving a little bit too confident here.
Yeah, just taking any opportunity he can roll. Dice comes up 10, so nothing good, nothing bad. Just a good play and a happy day.
Absolutely, and the CS difference on the Pirates now, I feel like it's starting to come into its own. Got about 30 CS difference there on the side of the bot lane. Again, about a 60 CS difference there on the side of the top lane.
They're going to force a flash out of Legacy Gold if in reply as the rest of the team because with the CS is going to get the 3 hits and each of them are already stacked. It's beginning to let all these members. Oh god, he's here, he's eating people. I didn't even notice what he escape and is leaving the team behind. Sejuani blasting holes in their ship and the base. 2 towers to boot as well. It's a tight ship.
It really, really is, and they are absolutely demolishing these towers. 4 towers to 0, despite the fact that the artists have picked up both Rift Heralds. There might be a case here where they might not even get to use either Rift Heralds. It might be quite a worrying trend for them, but of course it means the Baron is going to be respawning next, and hopefully they can make use of that should they get it, but it'll be a very difficult battle to have there. Looking close here to a 10k goalie, sitting around about 9k at the moment though, but I feel like that might swing towards that 10k mark very, very soon. It's looking quite worrying here. They're getting a mid lane push, and the Rift Herald does get set down, so 50% set. Take that. It does get its charge. Just the one, but
a little something. It's like half and 300 gold uncashed for that tower, but we take those. I'm gonna quickly highlight here the MR on the side of the Pirates here. Moke Tread pretty much across the board. AP built here for Gizmo, who has just landed the hook, looking to get the right side of his blast hook as well, but they are now stuck in the choke. The Cataclysm is the one that's actually choking up the baby on death. The rest of the team's going to have to escape from this one. The blast code not going to be much better.
Garvin does go with. Prison's down.
Still, but it is Sejuani just by her lone suit again. Carly in the meantime splitting the other way, wasting no time in the mid lane. Even Legacy God chewing up these minions, and it is the Pirate once again finding a pit and taking it home, and it looks like they're trying to forward back the Baron. Towers are taking the bot side as well. It's all golden for these Pirates. They are free as a car.
They are absolutely happy. They've got no eye patches on today. They have got clear vision on what they're hoping to achieve here. As you said, that Akali there was in the bot lane. Completely unfazed by the potential of that. Should they have lost it, there would have been a Baron on the side of the artists. But it has to be mentioned, that amazing CC coverage, rather the ward coverage there on the side of the Pirates. They had a red ward in that Baron pit and nice and clear vision around that topside river, which meant they knew that Baron was the prize that they were eyeing up next, and it's absolutely paid off as the artists look towards that bot lane to kind of mitigate that damage that Akali managed to set out on that push. And all that solo XP has meant a 3-level difference here with the mid laners, and now a 2. But it is such a monumental XP difference, as well, of course, as that gold difference. I feel like it might just be a mountain insurmountable at this phase, with all players being Baron empowered here, which is just a beautiful sight to be had. So it's looking worrying. They've got Dragon priority. It's only 2 dragons at the moment, but it is a contest, which might be quite exciting. But the push is going to be disgusting. I feel like that he got there in the top lane has noticed that. He's got a Hydra, he's got Baron empowered minions, he is pushing through that top lane with no care in the world, and rightfully so. He's disgusting.
Engaging here on the circle, recognizing the engagement is in position to build and they have to shut him down here. They are unable to trade. It's going to go well. So there it is, the shutdown. Java not in position to answer, but they are going to exchange an inhibitor you'd expect on the bottom side. I think an important shutdown to get. That's a Baron buff down as well. Consider half the time of this Baron was spent in setting up and securing that dragon. So insurmountable, possibly, but I feel like that's the correct move there from the artist to begin to bring this one back. They are now looking at items in some of their inventories. Got to remember that this Kaiser is very familiar with this champion. It is the player you're looking for as an artist fan to begin to turn the tide on this one. One Grace Cancer, plenty of CC. Yes, there's Merc Treads, but if you're able to get down on Legacy God, you're able to get down that Akali, damage begins to run out. They got cleavers, you know, it's like hard to be cement about the ability to come back, but you have to believe it's there. All of these champions, we've seen it before, can be playmakers and game changers. So it's not like the artists are without tools, it's just whether the Pirates can go on the offense to simply, it is their scrap to lose in this one. To see what they can do. For them, it's just good business, but we'll see if else can get away with just a drop of rum. And for now, we're going to have to stall out for this.
Absolutely, and it was rightfully the right move to make there to take out that Urgot Baron buff, but in almost the breath, he's straight back to that top lane to commit the crime that he committed earlier and ran it down with 4 players, but made such a great use of moving the players from the side of the artist. But look at this aggressive push here, with just 3 players managing to put so much pressure towards this mid lane and allow the 2 other players from the side of the Pirates to look towards that top lane. And they're almost stretched too thin. I feel like they will pick up a tower here, but which tower will it be? We'll have to wait and see. But we're just waiting it out. The Baron buff is gone. Hopefully this makes things a little bit easier for the defense for the artist. But do they need Baron buff? The power is still huge in the side of the Pirates. So we'll see what happens next.
Pirates here to find their preferred setup. They have the inhibitor minions, of course, pulling into the bottom. You see the things coming down here for the artist, recognizing that that is potential for Nexus Tower to be broken if not dealt with it. They tried to send the Kaiser over there, but the later Pirates can't really afford to use that. That's what the ultimate again to fight as a big game. But here it is, just supercharged. Got to keep your eyes on this Kaiser. He's got a chance to win this game, but it is the Pirates going forward. It's the Akali bring that to the shutdown. He's going to get killed. In fact, Megastar still alive as well, but there is enough damage here from the Pirates to finish right on Gizmo, keeping them alive, but it is the inhibitor exchange for the shutdown with 4 members alive, and they do anything about it. So Mo going to get taken out by the piercing arrow. That was a bit questionable, but we'll see what Nexus can do about it, as they are now beginning to step down this inhibitor minion wave that I set up earlier.
Look through this mid lane possibly. Do they want to tank it? No need, the minions are there, perfectly timed, brilliant. And with that attack speed there from the Jarvan flag, it just means they are destroying these structures. Nothing stands between them and getting that beautiful standing going. Just going to back up now, and it's looking rather dire. Potential for a Nexus disruption the next couple of minutes. Just the 2 Nexus towers standing. It's not looking too sharp. Still 0 towers on the side of the artist, so becoming scary. But the red buff's on the side of the Rel, so the sides have changed.
You take those, that's 100 gold back in your favor, rather than, like, that's basically worth 200 gold when you're behind, because it's not on the person you want, but it's 100 gold not going over there. Taking a look at the gold, since we're talking about it, 13k favor at this point. I'm honestly surprised that they didn't just finish it there. I feel like they could have, or maybe should have, that bit of a difference. I'm slightly concerned that they have just gone back to farm. They have 3 opening inhibitors, which means that they're farming all 4 of the gold that's coming into the base. So the time you're giving them is in fact beneficial here for the artists, especially when you're this far behind. Any time at all is good time to have. Baron spawning again, which I think they're going to wait for here in 20 seconds.
It seems like a lot of vision is going down here from Gizmo.
Pretty sure. Setting up some vision, clearing it out with a plant as well. Chemtech Drake vision plants from ahead are so obnoxious to do with them, making sure they make full use of that, as you can see here as well. So the Pirates here being steady with the approach. I don't think they need to be, but they are certainly putting every nail they can in this coffin.
it really is a cautious approach, isn't it? But maybe that's what you got to do. You never know. As you say, the outplay potential there from the Kaiser damage could be quite surprising. Got himself there, of course, to avoid quick blades, and the Kraken there, the damage could be surprising, but they're putting on their belt and their braces and making sure that they've got all the gold, all the buffs, and all the power they need to take down those final 2 towers. Get TP into the top lane from the Urgot.
Coming through, hook evaded by Asphyxia. Double super minions coming in, not quite synced with the middle wave, but they have the 2 side waves coming in as well. This last inhibitor going to be re-broken by this account. Crash down, plus Magnus storm straight into the back. It's Titan getting locked up, Rooted just dead off the chasing corruption. The fear beyond death, not going to root off anyone, but Infinite out the rest of the time. Just in time. Double kill was the Pirates clean sweeping the Nexus, I think
absolutely. And as you said, there was such people engaged there from the artist. The damage looked quite worrying at first, but the Pirates absolutely were unfazed by that engage, and there they go in 28 minutes with an unbelievable gold advantage there, and a real clean game there from the Pirates. And I'm incredibly glad that they just took it slow and calm and weren't getting carried away by any means necessary there. So a clean game there from the Pirates, and an unfortunate loss there, of course, for the artists. A lot of potential there to be had with an exciting bot lane at first, but it just got insurmountable. And I feel like that Jarvan was playing it perfectly, was getting to the lanes, making plays through the vision. And of course, that Urgot was just almost a tower himself. He was pushing those minions back non-stop. He was unbelievable in his wave push. And by the looks of it as well, most damage. Unbelievable there from the Urgot. A real menace that game, I think, was the standout there. An unfortunate loss there, of course, for the artists.
Yeah, I think the way I'd like to describe the Pirates here is ship shape. I think I'd describe that. A convincing win, 28 minutes, could have even maybe been shorter. As you say, highlighting the jungler there, definitely understanding where the reganks were available, where the summoners weren't available, and targeting and attacking those to make sure that that contentious bot lane that you mentioned in the early game being exciting was never going to come to anything that the Kaiser could really fruition with. And at the end, you saw it, she tried, but instantly the Chains of Corruption landed. The team understood that she is the target we get engaged on. That's fine. That's half the job done for us. Shut the Kaiser down, sweep the rest, no problem. And that kind of seemed to be the game plan from the get-go. Jarvan starting that top side, coming to bot lane, coming back to bot lane, making sure that Akali didn't go unfavored as well, winning that lane, sending it home. Urgot didn't need any attention as well. Definitely a big shout out. Damage implicates that one as well, Johan. Maybe considered for MVP if we were going to place one in this game. So yeah, it just felt like the Pirates really cohesive, a real crew kind of mentality, everyone putting their weight, putting the masts and whatever else, the rudders into place and steering that ship, sailing home to port and just taking the Nexus away quite dramatically and weirdly consideredly and thoughtfully, which is not how I describe Pirates, from the artists, who we highlighted coming into this game, really wanted to have a stronger look. Definitely the bot lane seemed alive in some sense. Maybe not as alive as you would like them to be, considering the Kaiser's mastery. We set that one up, I feel like, quite high, but again, not able to bring that one home. Sejuani in the right places, but never able to make anything come through top lane with the Gwen. Struggled into the Urgot. I feel like it's more an Urgot thing than a Gwen problem. So, as you say, unfortunate for the artists. Hopefully we can see them dig deeper. They haven't got a lot of games left. These were maybe the hardest 2 matches you could have. So whilst it looks poor for them and it's not the foot you want them to start on, they can certainly turn it around.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was really, really good, and very excited to look ahead, of course, to our next game, which I'm sure we'll be getting into very shortly. But brilliant first game there. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So we'll quickly jump to a break then. As you say, excited for our next games, which I believe is Robins versus Dragons. It'll be a first look at the Dragons and the Robins we saw play last week in a loss against the Goats. So for me, I'm excited to see them and some old friends play that one, as well as our first looks for the Dragons. So if you're as excited as we are, come join us after a break in 5. Welcome back with the Welsh Esports League, and it is once again me. Don't be too disappointed, and of course Peanut Brains, mini Connor over here, who didn't seem too much of a peanut brain last game. So hopefully you're now warmed up as we have another banger ahead of us. Robins, who we've seen before, lost their last game sadly, and our first look here for the Dragons. Talk to us about it.
Absolutely, no. Very, very excited for this game. Of course, as you say there, we've had a little glance at the Robins, but I feel like it's very much an open field. But unfortunately, quite a difficult couple of games ahead for these two teams. So very much an exciting game nonetheless. But I'm very much keen to see how this all plays out. Tell us a little bit more about what you know about the Robins. How was their first game? Was it slightly frosty, or did it show some very exciting potential as they head into this game now?
Definitely leaning on the more exciting potential, I'd say.
Brilliant.
Their bot lane, I thought, was a surprise. They were playing up the curve in terms of skill level, and they drafted Sivir Janna into Draven Nautilus.
Okay.
And whilst it sounds horrible playing into Draven Nautilus,
Very.
the Sivir Janna was a fairly well executed answer to that problem. They were able to mitigate a lot of the early game, however, inevitably, right, with the attention of a Rek'Sai that they were playing into, got those shutdowns, and that was kind of the story of the game. Harry was in a great position, but was unable to do much about it. Rek'Sai with the vision, it was just kind of a bit of, you had great tools, but it was a case of staring up at that skill level. There was a certain inevitability, but it was a great look considering that gap. The Darius Tedyet in the top lane had a fantastic game, but again, Darius versus Draven, it was kind of Darius versus the world by the end of the story, and it just wasn't theirs to write in the end, and the GOATs took that one. So hopefully today, where they're perhaps more evenly matched, we get a closer game, which would be more exciting because we've had fairly one-sided games, I feel like, on the broadcast so far. We've had some great moments, but they've always felt slidey. So hopefully this one, if it's slidey, it's sliding back and forth.
Absolutely. And I really want to pick on to what you said there, of course, with that bot lane draft. I mean, the Janna Sivir into the Draven Nautilus, there very much is a clear idea from the teams there. The Draven and the Nautilus want to go in, but on the contrary, the team there wants to very much disengage. Of course, having the spell shields, having the monsoon, the tornadoes, very much a lot of ways to get out of those engagements and those fights. So hopefully, though, with, as you say here, more evenly skilled matchup, we might see a bot lane draft that favors potentially more skill expression, or if not that, at least a bot lane that can go toe to toe quite nicely and not have to fall back behind your minions, back into your tower from that aggressive Draven and Nautilus bot lane. But we'll see. They could want to play safe, not be the attention, maybe even play a top side matchup and have that be the exciting side of the table, which could be a potential there, of course, as well. But we'll see, of course, the amazing and the excitement there from Harry, of course. We can see from his match history there, a lot of LeBlanc, a lot of Ari, which is exciting. So very much having the potential to play these majors, and I imagine we'll see something similar come out here as well, of course. Always a very stable meta with these majors, nothing too diminishing for these champions. So I imagine we'll see that come out here, but all will be told as we head into the game, of course. But I feel like, as you say, this game is an exciting one for that very matter, where there is an equal skill matchup, or at least more similar, which means hopefully, as you say, those scales aren't swaying completely in one direction, but are in fact leaning left and right. Because, of course, our last game was, it had its spark of potential at the beginning, but I felt like very quickly that Urgot in the top lane became a target that needed to be mitigated, and it was answered now and again, but unfortunately, the one or two kills and the one or two deaths that laid onto that Urgot was simply not enough with that CS difference. So could there be an opportunity for some standout players in the solo lanes to really take this game onto their back? Could be a potential, but hopefully we see a nice even match across the entirety of all these players. But as we say, we won't know until we head in. But looking back into that last game, of course, there, Brett, it was quite dominating win there, wasn't it? That was quite a punishing but calculated win.
13k by the end, plus of course the towers and the Nexus sweeping that one away. The second Baron as well in 28 minutes. Quite a refined game. I think the only thing really that they dropped out on was the 2 heralds, but then the enemy team even dropped a herald before summoning one. So as well as the game goes, the Pirates showed us that's about as good of a game as you really want to have, and making sure that you're not going to give over these games. Reminder for everyone at home: this is best of one. It does, as much as I hate it, makes sense to make sure that you're not, keeping your thumb over the nail when you hammer that one in, because you're shooting yourself in the foot when that happens, right? If you were able to give that game back, it was by being over eager. So hopefully these teams being close are going to keep it considered, going to keep it scrappy still, right? But not going to fight for the sake of it. They're not going to give over a game for free, right? We don't want to see any throws. We want to see comebacks. And that's kind of the game that I'm hoping for. And I feel like looking, as I mentioned, at the kind of players at the table where their skills are on the ladders, however many more furniture metaphors you want to throw in, they're looking quite comfortable on the sofa across each other. So hopefully for us staring at our TVs, this one's going to be as cozy as a cupboard.
Absolutely, and you're rightfully so. The best of ones are, I feel like, a devil in disguise, because that game was exactly as you mentioned there. If it were a best of 3, a best of 5 even, I think the Pirates would have been throwing a lot more team fights or, coin flipping a lot of these opportunities, but they were very calm and considered, because, of course, one mistake is all it takes for a game to completely flip out of control. And there, you're beating yourself, you're kicking yourself, but it's a best of one. I feel like waiting for the Baron respawn, getting that buff, then pushing the lanes in. That 1-3-1 was clear at the end as well. We had a real clear attack towards that Nexus towards the end of the game, but it was a very calm and considered game. Nothing too dangerous coming out. We might see that, of course, throughout the rest of the games as well. Of course, maybe a more calm and considered, calculated approach, which, will not be to say that there won't be some exciting team fights, I'm sure, but it's always in the back of the players' minds that whatever they do, they might have to second guess it, because it is a best of one.
Yeah.
And something so small can throw the game out of control.
Best of one is like something you can't understate, right? Because it is 5 games, 3-2 probably puts you in the top half comfortably, right? Which doesn't sound that much. 60% win rate, 3-2. That's feasible. That's a promos, right? And this time you get to bring all your friends, which is excellent. So really, as you say there, it's about that consideration. We saw it in that early game, previous game, the consideration the team made at the end, looking at that 1-3-1, setting up so that the Urgots on the flank and making sure that you're trading on the opposite side of the map. They did not waste any time there with the macro. They understood the game plan, and that existed level 1 as well. They recognized that bot lane was their point of strength, the point that they wanted to play through. They recognized that Legacy God Gizmo is their powerhouse lane, and the jungler was playing for that especially. There was opportunity in the mid lane, and they decided to put their basket or split the eggs, right? That's exactly how their composition wanted to run, and that's exactly how they executed. So I'm excited here to then begin looking at the draft again, maybe looking more personalized picks this one than the meta picks, looking at the down peg on the ladder these teams are at. But still, it's going to come back to how well these teams are gelling to play around their considered win conditions and making sure that they don't give anything to the opponent's win conditions, right? Because before, as I mentioned, Ted Yed became a win condition in the end. He's staring down at that Draven, and it was that back and forth. There was potential there for Harry to upset that Draven as well. So really, this draft is going to be super important for these teams when we are hoping for that nice balanced game that we just
absolutely
really, really hunger for. And here we are. We're into the draft.
No, absolutely. And I think what's really important there, he set up at the top lane, is 2 total different play styles. Clarky vying into that Ornn, vying into that Sion as well. Very much a tank player. But as you said there, Ted Yed, looking at Fiora, that Darius was very menacing, as you mentioned there before as well. It could be a complete clash of play styles, and it can go one of 2 ways. The carry top lane can dominate, take over the entire game, or that calm, slow scaling Ornn, for example, could just ramp up and become an absolute unkillable monster. So we'll see what they vie into here for that top lane in particular. But look at them pick some bans already.
Yeah, picks and bans coming through thick and fast. Of course, they've run through this one, so this is for us basically just to recap so we can show it on green, and well, so they can actually get into the game as well. LeBlanc taken away this time from Harry. An important point to make. Cast him a lot of times, done excellent things on the LeBlanc, was close to doing excellent things the last game, so they don't want that one to blow back on them for letting that one through, taken away there. Makes sense to me, but of course, I trust Harry. He's got a lot of things in his pocket. I've seen him do things on Lysandra, things on Azir. He's got some games on Zilean I wouldn't count out either, but we'll see what the rest of the picks are coming through as. Rel, the first pick, is curious to me. Last time, I think we saw these teams, it was Cassante. We've not yet seen him today as one of the picks you mentioned as well at the start. Hasn't really come through. May yet. Wukong, Ezreal, Kai'Sa, Janna, Lilia, the picks rounding out the last of the first phase.
And the same thing that we saw last game as well, a lot of priority on these bot lane champions being a potential PowerPoint for both these teams. But again, that Rel picked in, we had it, of course, last game as well. Didn't seem as exciting, potentially, as we might have hoped or might have expected from a CC-heavy team that they were vying into there. But not to say, of course, with this team, a Wukong very much able to get in with a decoy, knock up all the players. The Rel can then CC on top of the Wukong. It's very exciting. There's a lot of potential there for a nice lineup of CC. The Ornn taken out there, of course, which is exciting. And the Malphite.
The highlight champion for this team, the Dragons, who we've yet to see. They have, I believe, lost their games so far, Swans versus Pirates. So for the Dragons as well, there's extra pressure to make sure they start to pick up these wins. I mentioned 3 and 2. They've already played the 2 potential favorites. They have the Artists left. And if they want to be able to beat the Artists, who are still a strong team, although we've only ever seen them lose twice so far this split, it's going to have to be pulling forward their best foot here. I love, as you say, Lilia here, going to keep pace with the Wukong. Wukong definitely going to be a threat for this backline, getting on the edge with the decoy and everything else, but it is Azir and Zac filling out this composition, so maybe it isn't in fact Baruch on the Wukong in the end, and the Zac. Have to see how that one flows through, but I love it. Harry locking in the Lysandra I highlighted as well, and the Darius flavor of the week twice in a row, looking healthy, I think.
Absolutely. Something I want to pick up there and there is Yinya. He's vied in for the Azir, but judging off his match history, he's quite a fan of the AD mid laners. Might this be something slightly out of his comfort zone potentially, but by all means, a great pick. Of course, the Shurimus Shuffle is just a beautiful ultimate if executed well. So, might be something out of their comfort zone there, but going into a fellow mage there in the Lysandra. We'll see how that all pans out, but look towards the top lane where the excitement could well be. The Darius, again, could be a point of worry for the Dragons, as we have such a menacing potential there, of course, for that champion, completely having the opportunity to take over. But we'll see how that vies up as we get into the game now.
Yeah, and it's a Zac top lane, which is not something I could say I've seen a lot. It's something I wouldn't rule out as something that's good. But I'm really just kind of excited here for this Kai'Sa, because as a Kai'Sa player, I'm seeing 4 huge frontline AoE CC abilities, right? Which is perfect for your plasma stacking. Rel is excellent as well, giving you double up on that supercharge with the full tilt in addition to that. So this Kai'Sa has a fantastic set of team tools prepared to bring her home, right? Which then looking at the opposite side of the team is basically in the same position they were before, where it is the whole team staring down one AD carry and trying to deal with that problem. The only issue this time is that Azir and Wukong can carry games by themselves. It's not only up to Kai'Sa here to bring this one home. They are going to deal their fair share of damage, and when they're all pulled into that puddle, as well as the Magnet Storm and whatever else you want to call it, Cyclone and the soldiers, it's a real messy pit that they could get stuck into here. So the Robin's going to have to be careful not to get too nestled in their nest that all the crows and the dragons are going to come and just burn it all up in one. So I like here the Janna for this reason. The Janna has aged well in terms of the draft, picked early here in the sequence. It's definitely going to do well to knock back and disengage a lot of the champions here. Lily as well is going to love people in melee range of her, going to be able to get the dreams and the sleeps so much easier. Lysandra, for the same reason, wants to be in these close ranges. So I don't hate the Robin's draft here. They're just going to have to be careful where in the map they fight so that they don't get caught by the CC first, and they have the time to set up their disengage tools, wait for the dreams to land, and then begin to knock it down with all those AoEs themselves.
Absolutely, you're spot on saying that. I'm very excited to see how Janna uses that monsoon, because every champion on the side there of the Dragons has the opportunity to get in onto the enemy team. The Kai'Sa, of course, come level 6, can get into a team fight. So all those champions have a means of getting in to a potential Ezreal, for example, who's lying astray. But Janna has a great opportunity there to disengage them. So I'm very excited to see how they go about using that. But of course, the Kai'Sa is, looking at that team, the clear target to go into there. But of course, we have the Zac, we have the Azir, the Shurima Shuffle can be used defensively.
Yes.
If it needs, the Knockup and the Wukong can be used defensively as well. There are, albeit not as great means of disengage, there are means there for the Dragons. So quite a nice, well-rounded composition. But I feel with that composition, even though the Azir has a great potential to be quite a menace himself, I feel like we'll be expecting to see the gold funneled into that bot lane, and especially into that Kai'Sa, who will be a considerable damage dealer later on in the game. But will they get there? Will they have the opportunity to do that? Might even the Lissandra get in, lock up the Azir, get some nice easy kills potentially? Might the Darius take away this? I'll potentially tanky Zac. We'll have to wait and see. So a lot of tools to be used to engage and disengage from the Dragons, but potentially less ways to get in from the Robins. But as you say, the Lilia Dreams, send them to sleep might be the exact perfect lineup that they need to get the most gorgeous engage and completely annihilate a team. Because we know a Lilia can be disgusting, can be a menace, can be the fastest champion ever, honestly, and can be an absolute nightmare to lock down. So we'll have to wait and see. But we head into game very shortly, and I'm excited to see how the level 1 lines up. Is it going to be a calm, reserved, collected one?
Yeah.
Looking at these teams, I think it might be.
Yeah, I'm excited as well, right? Because we've set up this game quite a lot with the idea that hopefully it's going to be closer, right? Because the skill gap is closer. And we've already discussed we can't seem to land on which team we really favor overall, because the dynamic really is one team wants to engage and the other one can kind of thrive in that scenario where they do tend to self-cluster, right? You just have to make sure that you're not going to get bowled so hard that all of you are struck out. You need to make sure you have pins left up to answer, right? You can monsoon, but if you've taken half your health, you've still lost the fight. So really is up here to the Robins to make sure that they are positioning correctly, but it's also up here to the Dragons to make sure they aren't over eager. They're keeping that Kai'Sa safe, because maybe without her, they aren't going to be able to eat all of the little birdies that they want to. So it's going to be one of those games we set up. Has to be considered. These teams are going to have to be coordinated when the game is set up to be as close as this is. So maybe there won't be level 1 shenanigans, because again, best of 1, there's a lot at stake. And with the game being contentious already, it bodes well for us as the audience.
Absolutely, you're spot on there. And I'm quite excited to see, as you mentioned there, with the communication with Alessandra on your team, it's very easy for her to get into any target basically on their team. But it depends who she Frozen Tombs. If it's a miscommunicated engagement, it would be a case that maybe she has to Frozen Tomb herself and potentially lead to a death. But if it's a well-executed and communicated engage, she can go in and Frozen Tomb the Kai'Sa, and there might be a very easy opportunity to pick up a kill on the backline and the high priority target. So we'll have to see if the communication and the alignment are all there for a great engage on the side of the Robins. But as we say, nothing too crazy here for a start here, especially the jungle, the blue star for the blue side, and as well for the side of the Reds with the Robins. Just a calm and collected start, which, as you say, is not a surprise for best of 1, but I'm sure things will start to go around very shortly, but we'll see how that all lines up. I'm very excited to see how all these matchups go, but particularly the spot lane, who have that beautiful Kai'Sa with having such a great mix of damage that could become an issue for this bot lane.
Yeah, has the gun as well, so you can expect some of those items to come in a bit quicker, assuming there isn't too much of a rumble here, but instantly there's a rumble and there's a tornado and a thumbs up, so bot lane is already producing results as well. The jungle here looking to yield something. Aggression here, as you say, from the Lily land. Moving blows onto the red buff.
The sun is moving in.
Poisoned Harry already, as you say, in the vicinity, moving in. See what abilities he has available. Could use the Glacial Path for effect. First blood! The raid camera didn't even want to show us. Flash forward here from the Ezreal gets ignited and unable to get the answer kill onto Root Korean. So the Kai'Sa is happy with the cull, with the kill, and in the jungle as well. jungler taken down on his camp. The two jungle duo of the Robins there, boasting their red breast and the red buff, and now the chickens to do as well. You can only watch with that ward on top of it. The Robins are on a flying start answering those kills in the bot lane as well. We have action. It's gone awry.
It's gone crazy already, and just like that, just one simple priority, one simple push of that mid lane in favor of Lissandra is all it took for a quick run down to that red buff, and it went crazy ever since then. So something as simple as a level 1 push into a level 2, there you have the level advantage. You can look towards these plays, and it's just clean. I imagine premeditated execution there from the Robins. That seemed very clean and very well executed. So a nice start here for Lissandra as well, getting that assist. And look at this, the top lane as well.
Flash forward here from Tenyed, gets the passive with the auto reset there onto Zac, who is able to get the grass, but is it enough health on the revive? Is able to get back up, has not got all of his health, but the flash as well is able to trade it back. The slam is enough. I think Tenyed maybe a bit passive with that one. Watch out, Eve here on Bruker, an exchange of Conqueror's proc, but it's the bot. He's a level down, flashing forward exchange with Iron Endeavor, but it's the Clarky changing his mind on the stretching strike. So the opposite to what we expected to see with Tenyed's performance last time. More action,
so close, and that would have been honestly disastrous for the side of the Dragons there with that CS advantage on the Darius and that potential kill advantage. It could have been very worrisome, but I feel like that alleviates a little bit of stress there on Zac. Of course, he is missing his passive, he is missing his flash, but to have that kill advantage and to have that pressure alleviated is a promising sign there for the side of the Dragons.
Yeah, he's still down in some of that CS, but has got Wukong tapping towards that side. That lane for the Darius is going to bounce out, so there's potential angle of attack there for the Dragons to follow up with as well. Going to draw attention to mid lane CS2 as well as the bot. It's kind of back and forth across these teams where this deficit is growing up. Harry being able to leak into that bot lane and be able to be upper wave is certainly impressive, well managed there. Yinya unable to punish anything about that one. So it's little wins and little victories, and the wave states bouncing back and forth as the waves crash, which just means really that players are being respectful, right? They know that they don't want to step up to these waves where they don't know where the junglers are. It's just good patience, awareness from the teams means there's good communication behind everything that's happened so far and is happening still. So hopefully we get to see more of what we've seen, which is back and forth action, which is what we want.
That's it, and the Janna, even though not level 6, but having that tornado timed perfectly for the rel jump, great form of disengage, but the engage is so well there from the rel, it might just be enough for the ignite.
There's a Cathy Ray plus the auto attack, able to secure that while Roof Korean almost trading his life yet again. A plasma proc there on the core. We could spell his doom, but Roof Korean not wanting to give up room. 450 gold for 300 is going to back away from that one. So another creeper there in the bottom. Flash away from Yinya here. He's going to use the scoop to get Endeavor under this tower, but he hasn't got a way to get out. But he has got a way to find himself a kill. I was not paying enough attention to the health bar of Endeavor. I just assumed that deal was fast enough to get out. But oh dear, watch out, Eve, that tower hurts. Yinya able to go 1-for-1.
Just like that, it continues to be an exciting game. There's no short of action in this game. It's incredibly exciting, and just look the junglers are not sitting on their hands. They're looking for these plays, looking for opportunities to make plays, and they're doing it so well. That Lily unfortunately getting scooped, of course, as you said there, under the tower by the Azir, but still a kill managed to be picked up on the Azir. The Hex Splash forward here.
The Hex Splash into the knockup. Ramstein is going to be enjoying instead the stacks on the speeding wave and being able to freeze this one up potentially with Roof Korean. Thinking that far ahead on perhaps they wish to push, as the Drake is on the board and as of yet uncontested. So yeah, looks like they're going to opt for the push with the cash in on the cannon minion there, with the minion dematerializing. That's the word I was forgetting, and it looks like they're wasting no haste with this level up, pressing their advantage once again. So weak side here definitely for the Robins in the spot lane. Could lose them this dragon. Azir moving down, dropping a ward prematurely for this as well. Would like to mention that it is Harry picking up that kill in that mid lane, which is really who you kind of want it on. If you're looking to be a Kai'Sa hater, you want the Lissandra with as much gold as possible. There's chance of getting in that backline and blowing her up, which is really the best tool you have available, most consistent tool for shutting down that Kaiser. Really highlighted is a win condition, and who we can't really stress enough is already 2-0 as that win for a single is going to be completed soon. Probably going to lean towards the Cracker Slayer as we saw last game, so with that Hex Soul as well, doesn't have to build as much attack speed to get that evolution. It's going to be a threat if they're able to skill this one, which it looks like they will. Smite secure the group, but it's Harry flashing forward, Rain Frost onto 2 Frozen 2 as well, straight onto that Kaiser, but she has now got 3 hits as the flash, and the lullaby is big. Shuffle comes to something, but it isn't enough to get the team out. Frost coming in to chase. They are able to get the kill on the jungle in exchange for the dragon. That one landing, I think, on the Janna, which is not quite so ideal. Just going to have to get away with that one. Be happy with it. See if they can get on the map. There's Ramsden here. Overextended, but is going to get into this one first. Unable to get over the ball, and Roof Korean is here as well. Iron Endeavor unsupported by the team. Found the pick.
Get out here.
Harry now going forward has to find a way to get out. Ramstein mounting up with that movement speed, full tilt as well. Gets the additional magic damage hit back, but it's going to actually die to minion stuff, so indeed gives Harry a throw to play with. Yinya able to pick that one up with the soldier sliding through in the end. So a weird exchange, but I don't care. It's action and I'm happy about it.
It's beautiful. I just wanted to say there, the dragon, for that dragon fight, ironically, had such beautiful lane positionings there, both the mid lane and the bot lane at the time that they started to engage on that dragon. They had priority in both lanes, meaning those laners could come over and start to contest any fight that ensued. But unfortunately, the Robins were so well versed in that team fight, they didn't fall short to the team advantage, the numbers advantage they had for that dragon. But of course, the dragon unexpectedly goes over to the side of the well-prepared dragon, but the Robins made a very good fight at it, and they're looking good right now. Work towards the top lane, which has had a little bit of lack of care potentially. The Darius is just happy to stay pushing this way, getting the sack into tower.
Might even have more gold advantage than he gave over with that kill. So yeah, for the Darius, considering the way it looked on screen, off screen has been
absolutely. He has not worried at all by that one kill going on the side of the Zac. Of course, the Barmy Cinder, annoying item to have going in to just keep your distance and keep the wave pushing in. It shouldn't be a problem at all. Of course, the Darius coming back into lane, and the Wukong being spun up to keep an eye on those recalls, and this might well be a free Rift Herald. But hopefully we find more success with these Rift Heralds in this game as we've done in the previous game. The time will tell, of course, but I feel like there's some good opportunities here for this Rift Herald to be used. I imagine it could well be in any lane. It could be to alleviate pressure in the top lane, but I feel like there won't be an opportunity to get that wave.
3 minutes until plate falls. The classic staple is to drop it in mid lane, because that's the tower that means the most if you can break that one first. Endeavor here, with the knowledge that the Rift Herald has been taken, I'm surprised he didn't look for the opportunity himself. He's going to invade again into Blue's jungle, unable to steal the Grump, unable to launch the blows, is able to land the heap and bring Harry into the action as well. Flash away as the Lucan Lullaby comes on down, lands another blooming blows, throws a tomb onto the clone of Ruka, able to get away with it, literally using the decoy as it is so made, but it's likely have to flash away here from the time.
Red buff for Lilia.
Maybe literally fastest thing alive, as you had said before, having to use the bounce away as well. The shuffle using Harry here, having to get an escape, and does Duke it ever so nicely. Passive here, Bukaki battling pot, and does Tedia down the action. Flash here from Yunya, hasn't got a lot to play with, but has soldiers. Zac going down, it is Azir going down, and the Zeds are going to be sleeping in the fountain, and it is a win for the Robins across the top side.
And this is not what you want to see here on the side of the Dragons. That Darius picking up the kill, getting the push as well on this wave. Look at that. So many plays taken already on that top side. He might, no, he's recalling there, but what a great position for this Darius to be in there. Such an unfortunate wave state here for the Zac. The TP is just off cooldown, so he's having to come back into lane. Walking over ever so slowly. Looking good for this Darius. He might well have the opportunity to take this game into his own hands, but he won't get carried away. It's looking incredibly promising though.
Picking up the gold here as well, and what a great toggle. Just reminds me of a previous Robins game. The Darius is as equally far ahead as the Draven were from far ahead. In this case, the Draven you can substitute for Kai'Sa, 2k ahead of the Ezreal, 2k ahead of Zac. Darius is here as well, which is kind of gorgeous symmetry, and I love it when this shows up in games, and it kind of just shows how the Robins would like to win and play the game, and it seems that the Dragons are going to be sleeping Dragons, as they were perhaps a little bit earlier, going to be dropping the Herald Canadians bot side, not going to let this one go to waste. Plates picked up, and they are funneled once again into that Kai'Sa, who we cannot forget. Storm Raising
Quite a considerable goal lead as well on that Kai'Sa, and to have that Herald drop bot lane, getting that gold into the back pocket of the Kai'Sa and the Well, and of course the Wukong as well. But that is a really well placed reptile thing. I really believe opening up this bot lane here for the favour of the Dragons will only benefit that Kai'Sa and that Well. Having to take picks like just like this one.
Just like that one, and as quickly as you raise it, the Janna does fall. Vision secured there, and it is a crash down for that Janna. It could be the second Drake here for the Drakes for Dragons, makes sense. Haven't clicked the game yet, but they're going to look to do something about it as well. Another buy available. Ticking there onto the Ruger, teleport here from Kaki, shut down there onto Kai'Sa for the Ezreal, which is great news as a Robin fan, and they are now looking to slay the rest of them. It's unlike Welsh players to do so. A fantastic flash from the slide, and the ultimate here is going to come across tag nicely, who's just going to become a throw and turn on his team. The Undead Dragon going to be slaying Clarky as well. Corby, who was behind 2K, has come up huge for this fight now, 3-1, and it's the Robins taking the Drake and the Dragons.
Wonderful positioning there from the Ezreal, having so many opportunities just to free fire on the entirety of their team there, and it did pay off. That chip damage worked very nicely, but I'm incredibly surprised by that Lissandra damage. That Luna's Echo is meaning a huge amount for the damage meters there for Lissandra, and of course the Drell coming in potentially looking for a CC chain, but it was just insane damage from that Lissandra. It wasn't a chance, but Lilia potentially caught out here.
Lilia are slim, as you say, gets bonked by the Nimbus staff, and is a shutdown there for the Wukong, who, if you're a Dragons fan, you're certainly happy about, as this game was not looking as peachy as it was all of 4 minutes ago, where you had equalized win conditions. I don't know if we can talk with the gold here as well, because Darius picked up a solo tower in that top lane, and that Ezreal has now closed that gap 1,000 gold, which means a lot for him. He's got that stacking tier as well. He's your best point of scaling on this team. Kai'Sa scales fine, Azir scales great, Zach's going to do well as well, so both these compositions have some timers on them as well, so it's going to see, or in fact there is now bounties. They are this far ahead here for the Kai'Sa, so she'll be happy to play this one, which I think looks uncontested yet. There's and the Monsoon is sending back the Rel, but it's not enough as the killer instinct comes in, looking for Sport Psych as well to kill him off, and it is flashing away here from Iron Endeavor before the kill. It's not going to be enough to get it away from that damage. Iron Endeavor looking now to run this one down. Flash ball from Sport Psych with the tornado, able to land it, but can he survive? Living landed by going over the ultimate shield as well. Not going to be able to follow him, but he has a stopwatch, and he holds it for the perfect moment. So much happens, please.
A cool, steady shoulder there from the Janna, keeping that stopwatch just for the right moment there, and absolutely great to see the aggression with the tornado. Might have looked a little bit too crazy, just right. Spot out this Lilia. The lullaby just come out though.
Lullaby goes out, eat on top. 2 stacks for the built-in glooms. There 6 shot barrage going over a little bit wide. Trader Conquerors again, and both junglers just gonna worse for wear, eat up some food, smite each other, and let that one lie. So action again across the board, but still the Robins being ahead. I don't. So much happened there. I'm not sure who came out ahead. Kai'Sa got gold. She got a kill against that tower. Ezreal is the one that died. Flashes and stopwatch spent on Janna. Tower loss. I believe that was probably a net win for the Dragons. This could be another one, but there are 3 members of the Robins here. Frozen 2 onto that Kai'Sa. They've go to that one. She's just gone. Free reign for the Lilia charging on this one. TD here just happened to Azir, but he hasn't got a tower to play with. He has to set up his own. He's going to slide, he's going to glide, he's going to find 2, and that's a knock up into the cyclone. He's got another charge to go. He's found 2 more members, but it's a dunk here from Darius. He's looking to set the rest. The decoy doesn't matter. He's just gone. A double for the Darius. Baron is not yet alive, but the Herald certainly is, and it's a win for the Robins. It's what can they do?
It looked incredibly promising there for the Dragons, but it was whisked away from them so sadly by Darius, making the move down with those boots of swiftness, leading to his game for the fight, no problem at all. And there you have it, that incredible ult reset, meaning he is absolutely going to the health pot of the Dragons, and here he is, straight to that bot lane, not resting at all, looking to move this map forward and get an incredible amount of pressure lined up. Already pressuring the top lane, as you can see it pushing towards there, and he's looking towards the spot lane.
He has a Flame Horizon on his at 17 minutes. That is instrument, like monumental instrument. Clarky here, stretching strike here, which means, oh, if that apprehender landed, he'd probably toast. 3 levels difference as well. I think he's had 2 towers. He's got bot and top. I'm not sure who cracked it. Could have been him as well before that dragon fight. I think they might even need to send maybe more than 3 members, because if he kills that Kai'Sa straight up, unless she has the killer instinct to get away, she's just dead. And this Darius is fast. He's now got the whole breach. So that's movement speed. Triforce for movement speed. He's got Ghost, and he already mentioned the Swifties.
He's getting places, and the great thing is this, Darius can get to a lane ever so quickly, but very much get out of lane as well when they make the inevitable rotation for this insurmountable Darius, as it seems right now. But I really want to talk about as well that Lilia seemed to be doing a lot of damage already, but that was prior to the Demonic Embrace. Has the Demonic Embrace and the Lilia and the Leanders, of course, there's a lot of doing damage to be had there on that counter, and it can come very quickly and to an unsuspecting target. Can just be absolutely disgusting. And the movement speed as well, of course, from Demonic. Disgusting, whizzing around, no issue. Almost one-shot minion base. This is a problem.
Problem indeed. As you mentioned, 2 forms of taking damage plus a passive, which means all of these high health champions are going to Zag and Wukong are going to be healthy as well. They're all going to be fairly healthy. Not going to be so much of a problem for us. 7 and 2 already. Really on track to get a little bit healthier. Ted yet here, speaking of healthier, pulling in members, looking to get that slam, is able to use the shield killing instinct to keep himself alive. That's the Darius down. Is what can the Dragons do with this opportunity? Harry going and targeting in the middle, but he is going to fall as well. Can they get any of the throws out whilst he's still there? The Monsoon used to supply some space, and it is the 7 and 2. Lilia had the pentacle angle, is able to get 2, and is now Lukowi here in time to pick up the rest of this fight. Jana having to flash away, flash reply here from the Wukong, triple kill there, converted from the Lilia. Stuck in the middle of the sticks, having to use that exhaust to get closer to the blast plant and get away, but it is the Dragons reaping rewards and shutdowns there across the board. That was a fight.
That was a fight. That was needed there from the Dragons, though. There is such a monumental goal lead here, as we can see. They needed that fight to go their way, and it did, in the sense they might be able to pick up this Dragon ship. This Wizzy Darius not get there in time. There's a high chance that he might, and they're noticing that.
Yep.
They're just going to back off and play safe and recalling here on a red ward, but I think he should be absolutely fine. Yeah. But that, I think, is a promising sign there from the Dragons, unfortunately being behind gold, but did manage to stand their own in that team fight, which is most important. So there is still life in this game. This Darius and this Lilia aren't quite as horrible as they might be, but this next team fight might prove different with the back and a few extra items picked up. It could prove different with a needlessly large rod, of course. Stacking up with all the AP already in the back pocket of Lilia might be quite a nice addition to the damage she's going to be dishing out. And we seem to be getting a nice easy dragon here for the Robins. Second dragon here. No signs of stacking just yet, but a good little addition to the back pocket to continue that gold lead. So Darius again continuing to push waves in, doing what he does best, using the hull breaker as he mentioned, where he can continue to push the waves and pressure wherever it's going.
Yeah, good respect here of the lack of vision as well, and it's now the team, having taken that dragon, realizing that the only thing on the board really that they're interested in is this Baron. It's going to help them a lot with sieging these towers. The last one they tried to siege did net them a loss in the end with those killed in exchange. So here they are, they have created a pocket of vision on the whole top side of the map, and they've started that Baron that is falling fast. Remember how fast this is going to shred this with all these max health items, but they have somehow found their way the dragons into the pit, and it is Harry here exposed in the front. It's Teddy now in the middle of the sticks. The whole Barry has got those distances. He's going to try and get the shot, but he doesn't really. Might trick one in the background. The cyclone's coming in. Kaki coming in as well. The CC, the AoE is all there, and there is not enough in the tank to reply. Endeavor on the backside has stacked the conch, but he has got a plasma in his face as well as that realm. Just a shut down there onto Harry. So what was a fantastic opportunity to start that Baron has once again turned in the Dragon's favour, and this game is only getting close.
That is brilliant to see there from the Dragons, and I feel like quite a mishap engaged there from the Robins. But again, caught down here, Lilia.
600 gold shut down for the Wukong. He's going to be happy about that one. Now, with those smites still now available, they might turn their tide, back towards that dragon. Screw the objective bounty on the mid lane. We're going to have all our members here to get this one and get out. They're going to add this one to their horde. See the members. That Darius is very fast. His Baron is not quite so fast, although Korean is now arriving on this Kaiser. There is a blast cone behind it, but we'll see it come. I don't think that's going to get there in time. Shenanigans. Is secured. Objective bounty shutdown for the Wukong as well. All the way out though, they cannot. So Dragons, very, very happy with that take.
Ever so unfortunate there from the Robins. The Lilia just giving her life away, though I feel like it would have been a little bit too tight for the Dragons to take that Baron with the Lilia up. But as soon as of course that Lilia fell, the lack of smite, as you mentioned there, it was a free Baron to take, and they took it. They did. Johnny got a little bit aggressive here. The second does miss. No need there. Nice, easy disengage, but does seem a promising sign there for the Robins to try and get a pick where possible. But this might be an opportunity for the Dragons to get a push in a couple of lanes for the first time this game. It seems there's only one tower taken on the side of the Dragons. Could they potentially equal out the amount of towers on either side of the rift? We will see, but this is promising for the Dragons. The Robins seemed so steadily in hand with unbelievable damage from the top side of the lanes, but on the top side of the game. But unfortunately, with that engage being a little bit disorganized, the Lilia going in, the Lissandra going in, then having to back out, and then the Darius going in, of course. Maybe feeling a little bit stronger than he would have hoped for, but just getting picked out then as soon as that reset and that kill doesn't come through for the Darius. You can almost seem like a likely bit of standing gold to take, and take 100%. It they did. It's looking worrying now. I mean, it's not quite an equal gold lead, but with that Baron buff, I'd say that the power does lie the Dragons at this very moment in time. So we'll see what they use and what they get to do with that Baron buff. Possibly just stabilize. Hopefully more.
Hopefully more, indeed. You see, the tower difference, as you mentioned, is a great example here. The gold lead close to even, right? 3 towers is not what's keeping them afloat here. It is those shutdowns instead. And of course, shutdowns are now in favor for the Robins if they're able to collect them. I don't know if we can get a toggle for the gold for the individual members here. Before the later shenanigans, the Robins' losses, they were at best 6-7k ahead. That Baron has now just about fully equalized it. You see, in the gold, maybe a K difference. Again, right, with the standing tower, objective bounty, and everything else, they can close that gap. Take the individual gold. Jungle is now even. That 7 and 2 Lilia is now 10 and 4, given over multiple kills in a row. Mid lane close to even as well. It is the Kaiser ahead and the Darius ahead, and it has been the tail of this game. It's been the tail of the Robins, and this time they're going to want to try and play it better and cleaner, because so far this game they haven't shown us that they can't do that too much better than they did the last game, where they had the same footing in the game but weren't able to unravel that Draven. So they're going to have to make sure that they do shut down that Kaiser, but without losing control of their backline, without losing their Darius and members one by one in strange positions during these fights. It's going to have to be cleaner. They have managed to basically stall out this Baron buff as they pull a flash here on the top side. They're going to have to make sure that Teddy, as I said, is not left alone, or they're not wasting him. He's going to pop the ghost, get away, get the flash and passive out as act. That's a win for the Darius. In exchange for the ghost, possibly the dragon here for the Robins.
There is a Wukong here, he can blast over, can juke over. You'll have to see what he's going to do. Yeah, he could take this, will he get this? Unfortunately not. No, there's soul point, a chem tech soul point here. It's looking exciting. There's a way here for the Robins to have a real convincing advantage if they do manage to pick up a soul here with the chem tech. So we'll have to wait and see. But of course, the Baron does respawn before that soul, and it could be a case where if the Dragons take that Baron, it might just be a disgusting glance here for the Robins. But I imagine they have the opportunity to continue to push these waves. Now the Baron buff is gone. The Hellbreaker, of course, still on the side of Darius. He is just going to continue going back to that top lane. And I feel like the only reason that Zac was managing to hold that top tower there is because he had the Baron empowered minions, managing to keep the minions buffed up, higher health, higher resistances, and just managed to keep that Darius at bay. But without those Baron minions, I feel like this Darius could just come through and take that tower quite easy-handedly. But we'll see if the Dragons want to commit more men to the top side to eliminate this. Lilia here by the red buff on a red ward, no vision.
That soldier is for sure on the bush, but they know she's there, spotted out somewhere along the track, and I was about to say, 3-man sleep is fantastic, but it's not going to come through anything without any members. I love the angle, I love the approach, but I was going to say, unless somebody messes up in the next 2 minutes, now 1 minute, where the Baron spawns, it's going to be alive and time, unfortunately. Nothing really is going to happen. I was going to do a little item or inventory check, but it seems here the Dragons, with blood and water, sense an opportunity. They know that Tedyad is up here in the top lane, they can do something here in the mid lane. Brought 4 members, they have the minion wave. This tower is gone if they want it. No Glacial Pout here for Harry Sped. Glacial Storm, perhaps Magna Storm Flash from the realm. Monsoon going to be used, and it is already a dead Janna. It's not going to be a good start here for the Robins. The soldiers come flying in, as well as the Void Seekers. So Dragons do a good job of pressing an advantage.
It really is. It's a story of two sides. The top side can assume the Robins are convincingly all over the Dragons. We look towards that mid lane with a numbers advantage, and it's a total different story. Darius having to take this game more and more into his pocket. It seems, can he leverage that advantage and that pushing power to success? Will the Sandra get it onto the right decoy this time? Just too fast, that Wukong, unfortunately not able to throw consumer, lock it down, but
has to hold as Tedyad comes over the corner with that blast, has to flash away, but he's going to be absolutely melted. That 3-item Kaiser absolutely shreds him. It's Forky arcing, shifting forward, but straight into 4 members of the Dragons. You can't go too deep and too greedily into a mountain where dragons live. That is their home. Do not take from them. Instead, the dragons are taking from you. This Baron, you've taken too many of their kid in those dragons, and it is now up to the members of the Romans to see what they can do. Harry going over the pit, gets a great 4-man stun and engage with over 2 on himself as well. He's not going to do too much, but 5 times the little otherwise, and going to get shifted and pushed out. Instead, there is a wall in the way. There's not a lot of mana for these guys to take. First, let's see Smite coming down the Ruka here in a position of 16, has gotten power of, and it is again the Dragons coming out on top, although the exit is close.
Ever so unfortunate, Dragons looking like a full team of purple there again, being able to mean that these waves don't fall to absolute smithereens with this Baron. So they do have a little bit of leverage here, but again, that gold from the Baron, and all the buffs that come alongside of it. Dragons are continuing to look like the team here to lose the game. Seems like one of the first times in this game the Dragons are convincingly ahead in gold here. Of course, there is a Baron point, a soul point to be had here for the Robins, but will they get it? Seems unlikely with this Baron-empowered side on the Dragons, but we will see. That's exactly where I imagine the eyes are going to be lying towards the Chemtech, so it's nothing to be sniffed at. We'll see how they approach that final Dragon.
Nothing to be sniffed at all, and of course the Dragon is just a sneeze of 40 seconds away from landing onto the Rift. Some of the resets are going to come in now so that they are fully purchased and ready with the Zhonya's now for that Kaiser. That is going to be very important stopwatch here as well for the Wukong, stopwatch as well for the Azir. So this team of the Dragons are very much prepared to begin to team fight and close this one out. Azir cannot be counted out either. He's been the benefit of some of these exchanges quite a few times now. It's able to pick up the Dragons, but it is here the Robins assembled in the mid lane. All of them spied and accounted for, so it is now up to the team. Here it is, the engage here. Clarky goes in. Monsoon already spent. It is Kai'Sa, the one you want to keep your eyes on. She's trying to touch Harry, looking for an anti-fight, but it is most of his team already gone. The slide glide is fantastic as well. The Dragons waste no time when they see it in the river to pick it up and just drown out the Robins. They're both in the skies, but it is the Robins falling down to earth as the Dragons begin to take the base. They don't even need to deny the self-level. I think they're just looking to exit it out.
That's it, and the damage as we see on that Kai'Sa, that Insu, the Nashor, the Zhonya, the Shid, unbelievable amount of damage then. It's so hard to itemize against, but as you see here from the Dragons, no need to get that Dragon because they're looking straight at the next. Get it. An unbelievable stern cold shoulder there from the Dragons, not fearing at all against the incredible early mid game from the Robins. They kept their cool, they understood their assignment, and I think they got an A-star in it in the end. Amazing there from the Dragons.
A fantastic look indeed. Not a stopwatch burn in that final fight either. Completely unneeded. So that's 2k gold unutilized really in that team fight. You could tell the Robins had some of the right ideas, Harry looking for the right way to pull the punch. But as we mentioned in those team compositions, unless you're able to get those counter engage pieces into place, you are just going to get slapped and then rolled over. No stopwatch available for the Lilia, I don't think. Just gets assassinated. There's 10 kills worth of gold, vanished. And same for the Ezreal, shifting, maybe not in the right place, hasn't got enough to get away from that Azir with the Monsoon spent early as well. It's just so easy for that Flame Horizon Zac to still be such an important member of that team engaging in that fight with that passive available. Darius grouped means the whole breach is not able to do enough for him. So Robin's there committing to that Drake, and instead they find a horde of dragons ready and praying with that vision control, which is just magnificent to see, considering we already highlighted at the beginning of the game. It is that team coordination playing around those win conditions, and that Kai'Sa was certainly that.
Absolutely, and it's again a heartbreaking defeat potentially for that Darius. Did such a great job, as you say, flame horizoning that Zac. It looked like an island that was completely ruled by King Darius. But when he started to make the plays and the rotations to be alongside that team with that Hullbreaker, he was very much rather suited to be constantly in those lanes, pushing. And he was doing a great job of that. But when his team required his assistance, he seemed to be a less useful member as he might have hoped for, unfortunately. So heartbreaking there from the Robins with such a convincing start. But the Dragons, as we said, kept a cool shoulder, and that Kai'Sa became a menace very, very quickly and absolutely annihilating the enemy team there. It has to be said, the scoop and swoops, the Shurima shuffle was absolutely great there from the Azir, getting some great scoops and unbelievable damage alongside it if the CC wasn't enough. Really, really promising there from the Dragons. I liked how they kept their cool the entire time.
And I love that as well, right? You mentioned there the Azir Yin had quite a quiet game, but it felt like every time you saw a shuffle, you blinked and you realized, wait, that actually hit like 2-3 people consistently. He was able to trade 1-for-1 in that mid lane to begin with, get that shutdown on Lilia as well. Quietly was very much a part of that game, and I don't feel like maybe we gave enough credit during it, so credit there here at the end for Yin. And of course, as you say, for the Dragons, in the end, they didn't have a lead until, well, they took the Nexus, basically, as you said, just before they had that winning fight. It's the first time they felt convincingly ahead, which was the first time they were truly ahead. And it was only 3K, right? At some point, the Robins were 6K ahead, and that was earlier in the game. And that meant so much more than 3K did at that stage. So them being able to find that advantage and then bring these towers that they did not yet have claimed home straight to the Nexus is really, really impressive. And you can't really deny that a team with that coordination really kind of deserved to win that game. Maybe there's some tuning they can do there in the early game, which is credit to the Robins. And again, credit to the Robins and that Darius especially picking up those advantages and making that work and getting that far ahead. Of course, Harry as well, finding some fantastic angles, working with the jungle. So great look for the Robins, but considering the circumstances, a better look for the Dragons. And you can't really argue with that performance in the end.
Absolutely. And I'm ever so curious for the next game that the Robins have to face. Do you go ahead and ban that Darius? It's got through twice and both times been a very menacing champion, but unfortunately not being able to finish out the games. I wonder what we'll see.
Yeah, well, if you're wondering what you can see at home, Robins will be our first game next week, same time here, Monday next week for our week 3, as the Robins go up against the Swans again, perhaps one of the favorites for the tournament. It's the Battle of the Birds, I'm going to dub it. We're going to see which birds of a feather in the consistency with the teamwork analogies we've been having so far can pull ahead. So if you want to catch that game, you can do so next week as well, followed by the Goats and the Dragons, which is also quite a Shrekky thing. I don't know how we're going to handle that one. But it's going to be fire as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed today. And if you have, make sure to come back next week. It will be both of us, I think, for next week as well. So if you enjoyed us, please do stick around and continue to enjoy us as the week goes on. And we'll begin then to close out the final weeks for the Welsh Esports League. So any goodbyes, Minicron?
You've absolutely said it there perfectly. I'm very excited already for next week. We've got our mouths nice and wet, and I can't wait to stick into that succulent steak that's next week's matches. And what a great game to start off with the Robins. And I'm very excited to see how that all pans out. It's looking exciting. No team is to be sniffled at, and I can't wait to see how they come back next week. But we'll see then, as you say there, at the same time next week on Monday. But until then, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you as well. Thanks for everyone for watching. And since you've made me so hungry, I'm going to be quick to wrap this one up. So thanks to Broadcast as well as EsportsWales for putting this one on. Hope everyone's had a blast. GG's to all the players. And we'll say GG's to all the players at the end of next week, because of course you'll be there to say that as well. See you guys then.